Welcome to the Core Women Podcast, the place for women entrepreneurs, authors, and self-starters looking to build community and gain valuable insights through expert interviews with women at the top of their game. Join your host, podcaster, producer, expert coach, entrepreneur, and author, Dr. Summer Watson, as she aims to inspire and empower you through these candid conversations. Lean in and embrace the journey. It's time to start the show. Here's your host, Dr. Summer Watson.
Today on the Core Women Podcast, I'm thrilled to welcome Melissa Banks. Melissa is an award-winning master event planner, brand strategist, and best-selling author from Jackson, Mississippi, with 25 years of experience in mentorship from renowned expert David Tutera. Melissa specializes in creating extraordinary events. She is the visionary behind the Black Women's Business Expo and the Imagine the Possibilities Women's Empowerment Conference. As the host of Dream by Design podcast with Melissa Banks, she inspires women entrepreneurs to pursue their dreams. Melissa's latest book, Do I Really Need an Event Planner?, is a #1 Amazon bestseller. Join us as we dive into her journey and insights on entrepreneurship and empowerment. Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
I'm excited to talk with you today. Thank you for being on the Core Women Podcast. Now, before we really jump into your professional journey, if you could describe your life, your journey in one word to this point, what would that word be and why?
That would be possibilities. And the reason possibilities come to my mind today is that when I started my journey over 25 years ago, there is no way I would have even imagined the journey as it has turned out to be. And what it has taught me is no matter what's in front of you, no matter what you're going through, the possibilities are endless. And if you just keep going, you can grab the possibilities that are out there for you. So it's definitely possibilities.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for that. Well, Melissa, can you tell us about your journey from starting out to becoming an award-winning master event planner? Tell us more about that. How did that happen? What was the evolution of that journey?
My event planning journey started when I had a career in telecommunications, had been there for many years and really thought I would retire there. And the company went into some trouble and thousands of us was laid off in a single day. And my next level was starting my own business. And that's what started the event planning. But I thought that would mean just doing some flower arrangements and things like that. I had no idea of how large and how much possibilities are in the event industry. In my mind, I loved making flowers. I loved decorating, making things beautiful. So I thought that's what I would do. But what happened is I found an organization that certified bridal consultants. And once I signed up for that, it opened up all the doors of event planning and how an amazing experience it is to go through the entire process with the client, not just show up and decorate. So it was an amazing way to get started in the industry. And that's where the event planning industry began for me. And it just continued to grow in my interest and excitement. Even today, 25 years later, I'm still excited about working with clients. It started out weddings specifically, but it has evolved over the years. So I get so excited, book launches, even corporate events, all of it, because it's like a puzzle. You're putting together the pieces of the puzzle, and it's based on the client's wants and needs and vision. And then you see it comes out and you see the experiences that you create for others. And that's where just starting with flowers brought me to 25 years later to creating amazing events.
Isn't it amazing where one little step can take you on a journey?
Oh, absolutely.
Just loving flowers, designing things, and then signing up for that one course. And here you are today having that passion still for doing these events, which I think that when you go back to those foundational elements of what you're passionate about, what you love, what you feel inspired by, has longevity. So what inspired you to create? And again, goes back to this foundational questions, that foundation you created for yourself. But what inspired you to create the Black Women's Business Expo and the Imagine the Possibilities Women's Empowerment Conference?
Wow. The Black Women's Business Expo, what inspired that was because I wanted to provide a space for women to showcase their work. That's where it started out. Some of those women that showcased their work that day, that was the first time they ever had a space. Each business had spaces that were draped off. It was like walking into your own business that day. I wanted them to be able to share that with as many women in one place as possible. But not only just show their work, we wanted to have women there that would pour into other women, because what happens when you own that business, especially at the beginning when there may be more things going not right than going right, and you need to hear that you're not the only one that goes through those struggles when you're trying to do a journey of entrepreneurship. You want to hear it from other women. So we had a platform of women there sharing their journeys, how they got started, how they got to a place where even though it was overwhelming and they wanted to quit, they didn't, and they kept going. And that encourages women and just supports women. So we had over 300 women in that space that day that were inspired and encouraged by the speakers that were there. The Imagine the Possibilities conference came later after the pandemic, when I still wanted to inspire women. I'm that person that can walk into the store and say, "How you doing?" And it goes into a whole therapy session in that moment. I am that person because I want to see women win. And I believe that we can make a difference to each other more so than other people in the world. So the Imagine the Possibilities came because I wanted to be able to still do that, even though we weren't doing in-person events at the time that that was started. So we did it virtually.
Yeah.
And we did the same thing. We had women come on and share their journeys, the stuff they had to push through, the stuff that they thought they wouldn't make it, but they kept going. So we have women to come in and share that grit stuff, because I believe that when we share that stuff, that show us all that you just keep going, you keep believing in yourself, and you can push forward. And I believe passionately that when you hear it from other women, it's just different. You come out of there ready to move forward and ready to scream that I'm in here for the long haul. And I believe that's so important. So we celebrated our 3rd year of Imagine the Possibilities this year.
Oh, fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank
That
you.
is fantastic. Isn't it wonderful how you were able to take something that was in person and develop it and transition that into a digital offering to continue with that vision, with that passion? And so here you are celebrating your 3rd year of doing it. Congratulations. I love the mission. I love the vision of this because you're absolutely so right. When you bring a community of women, of people together to share, to support, to lift up, to raise each other's vibrational frequencies,
Mm-hmm.
it makes such an impact.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. And what you walk away with is a feeling of inspiration and also the next steps to your journey. Just like you did years ago when you went to that expo to research what was going on and say, I love flower arrangement. And here you are today doing your own events. Bravo to you. That is amazing. That's fantastic. I also had to do the same thing. I was doing things before COVID in person and during COVID having to create a digital space for women. So we did an event called Unstoppable. And then after that, we did something, and you mentioned the word grit. I did a conference in San Diego, and it's called GritCon. So it stood for Growth, Resiliency, Intention, and Transformation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing how we bring people and community together to make change, to inspire and talk about the grit that we've been through, but to support the next step. So I absolutely love what you're doing. In your book, Do I Really Need an Event Planner? What key advice do you offer to individuals planning their own events?
Some people are really good at planning events. They're really good at having events. They have a lot of those skills themselves. But the problem comes when it's your event and you need someone to negotiate the prices. You need someone to make the arrangements for the hotel stay. You need someone to replace that caterer that backed out 2 days before. When you need those things done and it's your event, you do not get to enjoy the experience. I believe in creating experiences, not only for your guests, but for you. So hiring an event planner doesn't mean you don't have those skills to do it. It just means that you have the resources of the event planner. You have the thoughts and her organization skills to handle all the details so you can show up and you can enjoy your event like a guest. So in the book, we just name about 7 things that enhances when you hire an event planner. For instance, when a vendor get a call from an individual for pricing, they're thinking of just that one event that they're talking to. But when an event planner calls and says, listen, I need a price for this event, this date, they know that's not just one event. That's every event that she's going to be able to do. So she's going to negotiate a better price for you most often than you could yourself if you went on your own. So those are the types of things. Just give you something to think about.
Yeah.
If you're planning your next event.
I so appreciate that you said that, because one of the things during that last event that I had, GritCon, we had it in San Diego. Now, when you think about San Diego, you think beautiful weather, sunny days, 70 plus.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't happen. That did not happen. And I had lived in San Diego before, and I was like, what is going on? We had one of the coldest, rainiest days ever in San
Oh,
Diego.
wow.
It was freezing. And the venue was gorgeous. However, the venue did not say that their heaters had broken. And mind you, I'm planning this event. So as you said, you want to experience this event. You want to enjoy this event. There was no time to enjoy that event, as I'm calling the manager of the building going, hey, these heaters aren't working. Oh yeah, we didn't get them fixed. We didn't see a need to because it's San Diego. It's never cold in that building. I'm like, it is freezing. We had to make coffee, give hand warmers, try and find coats. And it wasn't just that. We had to reduce the liability because it was raining. So we had no mats coming into the building, and it was wet all over the floor. So there were all these little fires I was putting out. So when you talk about having an event planner and dealing with the unexpecteds,
Exactly.
it is so helpful. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I never thought about that regarding an event planner. You're doing all this planning and you're enjoying it. And I love event planning, trust me, but it is so nice. And it would allow you to enjoy the experience like a guest if you had an event planner. And there's longevity in that too, because when you start building that relationship up, that's going to be the next event and the next event and the next event. And they're going to make referrals to you and to those that you work with, because they want them to have that same wonderful experience as a guest. So I'm so glad that you wrote this book, because we feel like, gosh, we have these skills, we can do it, but it's not necessary that you do everything all the time.
Right. Because like you said, instead of enjoying the event, you were handling the
fires
that was happening. Yeah. You were spending all the time on the phone and trying to find solutions. See, the event planner would have helped you with that.
It totally would have. So just that one idea in that book alone was huge, right?
Absolutely.
And then you also have your series or book series, Dream by Design, which focuses on motivation and inspiration. Can you share a story of how these books have impacted someone's life, or even yours?
The Dream by Design series is there to inspire you. It's there to remind you that you have everything you need. It's there to pick you up on the days that you need picking up, which we all do. We know we show up and we look great and we smile a lot, but some days it takes pushing to get there. And that's what the Dream by Design brand is about. It's about encouraging you, reminding you of what you may have forgotten for that moment. And it also encourages you to dream and set goals. And Dream by Design, the inspirational journal, that's what it's about. It even has a place in there. It has those prompts in there, yes, that reminds you who you are, that reminds you to keep going and those things. But it also has a place in there for you to really set some goals. What is my goal for this week? Sometimes we get so caught up in goals and we go so far out. But what am I going to do just this week? And then just write down 3 things that you're going to focus on this week. What they do is just get you back on track, get your thoughts and your minds back on track. And it encourages you and picks you up and keeps you going. The entire series is based on that. And actually, this week we released another book in that series called Dream by Design, Dream Journal. And it's just there to provide a place for you to write those thoughts so that later you can pick that up and you see your own words and thoughts and feelings. So we're super excited about that as well.
That was a great segue into my next question, because my next question is, what are some strategies you use to help women push past their usual stopping points and achieve their entrepreneurial goals? Because we do fear. We do have those setbacks on occasion. So how do you help people kind of lean in? How do you help them push forward when they would normally stop maybe at that point?
That's a great question. And I tell them what I do. First of all, I get up and I list some things to be grateful for. I don't care how bad it's going. There is always something to be grateful for. That's where I go. First of all, it's just to be grateful for where I am already, what God has already done. And then I practice affirmations and I tell them that this is something you say out loud. Don't just write it down. Don't just think it in here. You say it out loud. I am powerful. I am enough. I am smart enough. I am beautiful. You say those affirmations out loud, speaking them to yourself. And then you acknowledge this is the place I am. I am in a tough spot right now. I don't know which way to go. It all feels overwhelming. Give yourself some grace at that moment and just acknowledge this is where I am. And then set a plan. Set a plan for the next step because the next step has to happen because you don't want to get stuck in that step. So whatever that next step is, that next step may be calling your mentor or calling somebody that you admire that can motivate you, that can help you put thoughts together. That may be the next step. But the next step is critical to get past where you would normally stop.
I love that. And I especially love the part where you said recognize. Embrace where you are. Because I think a lot of times we keep racing and pushing forward without taking a breath,
Right.
without recognizing and embracing our emotions. Because if we keep pushing it away, and keep running towards whatever, somehow those emotions are going to creep back in. And they're going to get in your way. So you want to embrace where you're at, those emotions, how you're feeling at the moment to be able to take those next steps in a healthy, positive, balanced way.
Absolutely.
You mentioned something, mentorship. You've had mentorship in your life. David Tutera, tell us about that mentorship.
David Tutera is a celebrity event planner that I have admired my entire career. So to get a chance to work with him, and he was very open about the event industry. He shared pricing, he shared contracts, he shared how to deal with problems when they arise. And that was an amazing experience, not only because we were hearing directly from him, but it was other event planners from all over the world that you could also pull on those. But he also gave us some things to do to make changes in our businesses. My mentorship with David started right after the pandemic hit. That was a really great time to look at the business. How can I do some things different? How can I survive the situation where we are? And he pulled from his experiences. And you want somebody like that in your life because you want to be able to hear from experiences that they put in place, how he was pushing through the difficult days, because just because he was a celebrity, some days were difficult for him too. So it just helped me grow so much in my business and the opportunities that are there for the event industry. So it's been an amazing experience that I hope to deliver to the other event planners that I mentor now.
Oh, fabulous. I just love that you received from someone with such wisdom and then you're giving back as well. Mentorship is so valuable.
yeah.
I've had great mentors in my life and I wouldn't be where I am without them.
Oh, absolutely.
So we have covered so much today. You've shared so much wisdom. So as we come to the close of the interview, my last question is, for those who are juggling multiple roles like yourself, you juggle so much here. What tip would you give about finding balance between personal life and professional aspirations?
My biggest tip and the thing that I had to learn is planning and strategy. And that includes your personal life. When you sit down for the week or the month, or however, I do a monthly plan, but I also do a weekly plan so that when I go into the week, I know what my week is going to look like. And there are some things that I block off time for. I spend time with my mother every other Thursday. I pick her up, I take her to lunch, I take her shopping. We just have a great day.
Nice.
And that's part of the plan. It doesn't just happen. And I think that's what happens to us when we get the personal and the business mixed up and intertwined. We don't approach it with a plan. So my biggest tip is to have a plan and include those personal things that are important to you, whether it's coffee time for yourself or spending time with family or going to the movie, whatever is part of the plan, or it just will not happen and you will feel overwhelmed.
Okay, that's a mic drop. I love it. Thank you so Thank you so much, Melissa, for joining me on the Core Women podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. You can follow Melissa Banks on LinkedIn, Instagram at The Melissa Banks, and you can also follow her on YouTube at The Melissa Banks Show and at TheMelissaBanks.com.
Thank you for joining us on the Core Women Podcast with Dr. Summer Watson. We're so glad you're here and would love to connect more with you. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Core Women, and on Twitter at Core Women 1. For more about Core Women and Dr. Watson, visit corewomen.com. Want more support and resources for amazing women like you? Great! Join Dr. Watson and Jen Fontanilla at the Life, Love, and Money Collective, a Core Women production that aids in understanding the key traits that might be getting in the way of living a life that you are absolutely passionate about. Connect with Summer and Jen and find out more at thelifeloveandmoney.com.